This is a follow-up episode that I want to do on what does productivity really look like in a life in full expression. Remember, we've got 7 dimensions. We've got physical, occupational, spiritual, social, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, and environmental. So what does it look like for us to be productive in those dimensions and giving them attention and giving them nurturing? I'm going to remind us of 3 of them. And the top 3 is really that focus on attention management, not time management. Because, in the 3-dimensional structure of our humanity, we've got 365 days, we got 24 hours in a day. And so it's more important that we are learning where to focus our attention was the number 1 tip. Number 2 tip that I gave a couple weeks ago was be calm under pressure and emotionally self-aware. And then one thing that I have heard so often from very highly successful people, tip number 3 is knowing how to say no. So this episode, I want to shift gears and turn our attention to productivity itself. And we've already described productivity as the ability to achieve our most important goals as effectively and efficiently as possible. What does it look like for us to actually practice it day in and day out? I'm going to take some tips from a really cool book written by Graham Alcott. It's actually called The Productivity Ninja, on really what productivity consists of, learning the different signs of a productive person and an unproductive person. Also going to let you know about 3 types of the art of your attention management, uncovering the times when you display each type. We're also going to look at 4 essential practices to protect and really be proactive in your attention times. And then I want to give you 4 habits today, how to win at productivity. So I want to start off with a quote by Mr. Thomas Edison. He said that being busy does not always mean real work. The object of all work is production or accomplishment, and to either of these ends there must be a forethought, a system, planning, intelligence, and honest purpose, as well as perspiration. And seeming to do is not doing. And that's a quote by Thomas Edison. So let's dive into this. We really first need to take a step back and look at the different types of attention. And I'm going to introduce to you 3. The first one I want to introduce to you is proactive attention. And how this is defined is it refers to those times when you are totally alert, focused, absorbed in the task at hand, and when you feel ready to take on the most complicated tasks and make important decisions. Next up is active attention, is when you're working hard, making fairly good progress, but are getting tired and more easily distracted. You can still come up with great ideas and accomplish a lot, but more likely the quality of your work isn't the best. The third attention is inactive attention. And this refers to the moments where you're pretty much drained of your mental energy and your struggle to accomplish complicated tasks that require a lot of thought. Your ability to get things done is really a lot more limited with this type of attention. So real quick, we've got proactive attention, active attention, and then inactive attention. So you're going to get to be able to ask yourself some questions. When are you most proactive with your attention? When part of the day might be in active attention? And then where are those times where it's just completely inactive attention? So here's a little exercise that I'm going to give you, and you can replay this and get this jotted down so you have it. So begin by taking out a piece of paper and jotting down what your average workday schedule looks like. And then 2, be sure to include start and end times for each task you accomplish and any breaks you take, and what you do right before and right after work as well. And then number 3, now look at each block of time and assess your attention level for each. When did you display proactive, active, and inactive attention? And then finally, note your best and worst times from an attention standpoint. And moving forward, be sure to schedule your most difficult and complex tasks during your proactive attention times. So that's a little skill that you could do. Maybe just do a time diary for 2 or 3 days. That might be plenty, or even 1 or 2, just to get some feedback on yourself. So to really fully capitalize on this proactive attention time, you and I get to need to recognize that these times are rare and they're also extremely valuable, and for you to do whatever you can to protect and increase them. I want to give you 4 essential practices that can help make the most of your high attention times. This first practice is schedule your work around your attention levels. Now, your mind might be saying right now, seriously, Beth, I can't do that. You don't understand my work. Now, that could be part of it. And I would ask and introduce that if you could apply these 4 essentials to the best of your ability with what's available to you, that's a very high calibrating question for you to come from. As mentioned above, you want to take on the most difficult tasks during the times of your proactive attention. The challenging but easier tasks for your active attention, and then the easiest, most basic tasks for basically the inactive attention. Here's some things that you could think about. You should work on maybe some heavy-duty reports that you have to do during proactive attention, and then conduct internet research in your active attention phase, and then cleaning your spam out or your inbox during an inactive phase. Now, I've noticed sometimes that I will do the third one sometimes in the middle of my morning. I'm like, Beth, that's your most proactive attention. You're not utilizing that well. So just by me studying a little bit more and prepping this for you, I noticed that about myself. So number 2 essential is limit interruptions or distractions. You want to do our best thinking. Proactive attention is required, but you also need to ensure that we can concentrate without getting sidetracked or distracted. Distractions can either be internal ones we create ourselves, such as checking on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or they can be going for another cup of coffee, or they can be external in type. I know sometimes I'll pick up my phone and start looking at something, and I'm like, I am right in the middle of my proactive attention. Put it down, put it away, put it over there, setting boundaries for myself. And I've learned some things from other mentors where you could do some cupping, you could do some breathing. You want to go do a cold pump plunge, that would really wake you up. But in general, you're at work, so there's some inactive attention. However, you can cultivate habits to help you increase or maintain, look at that, maintain your periods of active and proactive attention, such as eating healthy, drinking more water. I pretty much always have a water bottle near me that basically has a lot of micronutrients in it. I put a lot of minerals in my water so that my cells work really well. Got some great electrolytes in there. Regular physical activity, and then giving ourselves good times to rest and recharge and getting enough sleep. A healthy, balanced lifestyle benefits us in so many ways. It can really help us extend and improve those attention of proactive and active times. And then 4th essential, find extra pockets of attention. Believe it or not, there are opportunities for you and I to create extra pockets of attention during the day. I liked this suggestion. It said making phone calls while taking your daily walk, and catching up on important reading while you're waiting at a particular office or something like that. And you can also reply to some quick emails while you're waiting for coffee to be made, or you think important decisions during, your ride to work if you are on transit, and you can do that. Those are just some 4 essentials that you can incorporate, and just a quick repeat of those is you can schedule work around your attention levels. Number 2, limit your interruptions and distractions. 3, you can uncover ways to boost your attention. And then 4, find those extra pockets of basic attention. I'm going to introduce to you 4 key habits that are going to not only help you, but they're helping me as well, is how we can win at productivity. Number 1, we've got to have a way that we are actually gathering. And so really it comes down to crucial is that we have some kind of system where we're gathering information, that it's into a structure, and that we're able to reflect and then able to actually act on it. We're looking at a system of gathering, that it's in a structure, time to reflect it, and then put it into action. So gather. This really involves taking every stressor, creative idea, piece of paper, voicemail, email, notification, blah, 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 whatever you want to add on to that may be in your world, and then storing them in some kind of structure system to return to them whenever the time is right. To accomplish this, you and I actually need to have a way to capture the most important bits of information, such as ideas you have, important conversations, and takeaways from a meeting. And this can be done on a notepad you carry around with you. Another way would be an app. There are so many apps out there that you can use on your phone, or even just bookmarking a web page and returning to it later. Number 2 habit would be a structure. And this is really important to really take the information and organize it so that you can assess which action you should take. By creating an organized system, you can figure out what action to take and make informed decisions as easily as possible. Now, as a life, health, and business coach, in order to make really good informed decisions, it's important for you to know what's important to you. And you can set up the system by utilizing 3 kinds of lists. So, number 1 list that you can look at is a list of all projects you are working on. I don't know if you can see behind me, but even within my own there are huge Post-its behind me that I have big projects on, and so I can see them on a regular basis. And then another list is every action you can take on each of your current projects. And then finally, the other list is a daily to-do list. Basically a list of projects, a list of action for those projects, and then a daily to-do list. Number 3 is reflect. With this habit, you're going to utilize daily and weekly checklists to help you know where to focus your attention. There's the key element. Where do you focus your attention? Where do you identify areas that need improvement and boost your overall efficiency? So you can see maybe the day, the week, the month, or the quarter. What projects do I want to work on? What actions do I get to take to make those projects come alive? And so then you can begin to basically put it in your calendar. Now, these checklists are distinct from a to-do list, right? Because they are simply lists of consistent thinking or behaviors you engage in during your daily and weekly review sessions. One of the habits that I love to do on a consistent basis is look at my calendar on the Sunday night as the week starts to go into full force for me, and just check out, okay, what's coming up, writing down some things, what I want to focus on that week really helps me a lot. So a weekly checklist is really a method to ensure that you're truly mastering the gather structure habits, in which is essential before you can reflect and act. The next essential habit is act. And this is when you take action and you channel your attention and energy to really tackle your work as efficiently and as productively as possible. And the previous 3 habits mentioned here are really necessary for you and I to master, to prepare ourselves to take an effective action. And at this point, you have everything you need to move forward and build momentum and make accomplishing your work as seamless as possible so you can achieve incredible levels of productivity. You already have a daily to-do list planned out, so now all you need to do is review your tasks for the day, decide on the order, and you'll do them and schedule each one according to your attention and energy levels. So again, I just want to review for you these essential key habits. Is number one, you want to be gathering all your stressors, creative ideas, things on piece of paper, voicemail, email, notifications, and you want to then put them into a structured system. You want to really reflect on what you've gathered, what your structure is, and then you can step into that action. Let's think about your current productivity habits and consider how they compare to these 4 key habits, and identify which areas you actually can work on to boost the productivity. Question number 1, how basically are you gathering everything effectively? Now, if I ask myself that, my answer would be no. I'm not gathering everything effectively. And yet, this really isn't an easy question to answer because there always seems like there's always more that you could do, right? So if you're continuously feeling like you're operating with incomplete information or that you're missing something, that could be a good sign that this area needs some work. So you need to consider if you've truly identified every action that's worth doing and have an effective model of gathering your information. So right now, pull out a piece of paper and a pen or pencil, or just pull up the notes in your phone maybe and take some notes on, make a list of all of them. So here's some examples of how sources of information could come into you. Emails, voicemails, text messages, phone apps, social media accounts, meeting notes, paperwork, etc., etc., etc. So just making a list of that. Now look at your list and see if there's any way you could consolidate or possibly eliminate some of them. Are they all absolutely necessary? And if some of them aren't, ask yourself, could I eliminate them? Now, the next phase is to uncover which actions are worth spending your time on. Here's an exercise that can help you determine this. All right. Find an in tray, like a large box enough that you can put pieces of paper in. And also get a pen and some scrap paper or a notepad. Now take a strip of paper and write down something that's been on your mind because it isn't getting done. So something that's been on your mind for several days, weeks, maybe even months, and add it into the tray. And then basically repeat step 2 until you have cleared your mind of things that need to be done. Now walk around your house or your apartment or office and see if you can find other things that need to be done. And these can include receipts, books to return, clothing to return, or post-it notes, expense reports, permission slips for your kids' field trip, and add all of that into your tray. And really you want to complete this exercise in an effective way to know all the tasks you need to do so you can find a way to actually organize them. It's really extraordinary how we can get done when we organize things into buckets of gathering information. Do you have a checklist? It's really important that we have that. And so I just put down some things here. One of the most effective ways to do this is to implement a system of lists. Checklists really are another important tool that can help you stay on track, though they're often underrated. Ooh, they are. I see this a lot in my college students of, are you putting it into a calendar? Do you have it organized? And a lot of times their answers will be, no, I'm not doing that. So it is really recommended for you to use daily and weekly checklists, and which contain lists of different behaviors also that you employ to basically assess your progress and making you basically a current batch of tasks. When the time comes to take action, you do work efficiently and make good progress. Do you? Are you making good progress when you make those lists? Do you find that you typically fall into a smooth rhythm and momentum when performing the tasks? Or do you consistently struggle to get things done in an efficient and timely manner? And if you are, again, look at how you are gathering your data and what system you're putting it in. And if you are still struggling to take action after implementing these systems, there are some other considerations. Are there too many distractions around you? What might help you to eliminate those distractions? Don't play a victim mindset and go, they're everywhere. There's nothing I can do about them. Ask a different question. And are you making the most of your times of proactive and active attention? And have you really been held hostage by that perfectionism? And do you try to take on too many tasks at once? Sometimes those last two creep into my life, definitely. So if you've answered yes to any of these questions, chances are these are issues and you'll need to tackle and achieve some maximum productivity. And remember, this is an art to be created and developed. It's not going to happen overnight. So I invite you to check out the worksheet that I'm going to put up for you. And I also have an online course that you can find at bethwolf.com on creating your productivity mastery. So thanks for joining me. I love giving you guys tips. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week.